Peace, family. This is Underground Railroad Productions. This is Brother Rich. We out here in Brooklyn with the Red Pill on March 9th. What's this, March 9th, Red?
March 9th.
Right, March 9th. We you know, Red, I get Red, I get Dot, I get Blue. We deal with this hip-hop thing, one of the most influential cultures in this country at this time that's affecting youth all over the world, not just America. So when we talk about hip-hop, don't think we're talking to a small audience. This right here impacts globally. DMX, all these dudes, they toured globally. Like, the impact these dudes have, these artists, Red, presidents, leaders, kings and queens dream of this power. They dream of having power to influence and to tell Jay-Z, like, nah, we not wearing gold no more, we wearing platinum. Millions of niggas like, nah, we don't wear gold no more. Oh, we don't drink Cristal, we drink Ace of Spades now. You ain't know? Why y'all do that? Jay said it. Jay said, you know what I'm saying? So, put aside, you know, whether we agree with these artists or not, these artists exhibit a certain amount of power over the people, whether we agree with what they do or not. A lot of influence, especially with the music. So on that note, we gonna start, Red. You from Brooklyn, you from that era, Red. This thing, Biggie. I want you to just tell me a little bit about how you think what happened with Biggie and Pac and the whole East Coast, West Coast thing, and how the media got involved with it, and how it impacts black culture, or just culture in general to this day.
Well, to be honest with you, when the quote-unquote East-West beef was, you know, created by the media outlets and things of that nature, remember, family, we talking about a day prior to Web 2.0, prior to social media, prior to rap blogs, you know, prior to the daily influx of information. The way that we were getting our information was through the Source magazine and the Vibe magazine. And then when news outlets such as CNN picked it up and began reporting about a quote-unquote beef because there were shootouts and things like that, there were there was some loss of life that took place in Atlanta, dealing with Suge Knight, entourage and Puffy's entourage. So that began a big rift. Tupac put out an article in the Vibe magazine when he was behind bars. This was after his ambush that took place in Quad Studios, where he was robbed by some stick-up kids out of BK. I'm not gonna say their names because the case is well known. It involves one of the brothers, King Tut, and some other people, but the case was well known. Brother Jimmy Henchman was also implemented in that setup. So in the interview, he implicated Biggie as being somebody who may have been knowledgeable about the drop. Okay? Now, what he didn't realize and what many people have failed to come to grips with is the fact that these were stick-up kids who were not part of Biggie's entourage. These were stick-up kids who would basically come and stick up anybody that they would find. So if Biggie had those jewels, if Biggie had the money on him and things of that nature, if he was in the lobby at the time of the jukes, he could have got it as well. So, you know, as a result of that robbery, that unfortunate robbery where the brother got shot 5 times, then he got incarcerated a few days later, he basically voiced to the Vibe magazine that he felt that Biggie and them was implicit in that robbery, that they knew about it and that they were basically behind it and they set him up. So that started the rift. You know, it was unfortunate. In my humble opinion, it was fabricated. But as we can see, there are two people lost their lives as a result of it. So we have to go in further and ask ourselves, why was the story fabricated? What was the meaning behind the fabrication? Why did they blow it out of proportion? And was it honest? And was it a real, you know, like, was it really honest journalism?
Do you, Red, do you feel as though, you know, some people watching the video may say, you know, Biggie's music was kind of negative. 10 Crack Commandments, Versace hotties, white Jesus pieces, all that. What you brothers doing honoring Biggie Smalls as if he's as if he's a Dr. Ben or a Malcolm or whoever. Now that leads me to this question, Red. The brother Biggie was a genius in my eyes. Lyrically, musically, a genius. When you y'all can go. When you're dealing with uplifting consciousness and humanity, and you have a genius like Biggie, should you stunt creativity and tell them you can't say you got 7 Mac 11s, 838s, 99s, 10 Mac 10s because you know what? That's not going to uplift humanity? Or do you respect his artistry and say, that is some clever shit. That's some wordsmith shit. Write that, say that shit. Like, I got 7, 838s. What he said, Tyson, Jordan, Jackson. You know, like his ability to manipulate the English language was amazing. So, being a creative on one hand, Red, and being conscious on the other hand, Red, should we stunt this creative juices flowing from humanity and say that, oh, that's not positive, you shouldn't say that?
Interesting question. Going back to the statement that you made earlier about the fact that, you know, we are connoisseurs of the culture. We deal with hip hop as its cultural expression. You know, we are here to talk about the impact of hip hop, both negative and positive. Now, I'm going to rewind the tape a little bit and talk about the era that this man hails from. We right now in BK, Bed-Stuy, the projects across the street, Lafayette Gardens, affectionately known as LG. You know what I'm saying? Down the block, you have his neighborhood where he came from. We on Franklin Ave right now. Now, I don't know how many of you are familiar with New York of the 90 era, but New York in 1990 had the highest homicide rate, you know, of New York since they began counting those numbers. 1990 was the year that shit hit the crescendo. Okay? So the brother was coming from an environment. He was coming from a reality. He was coming from a state of mind and a state of being of a war zone. Okay? We're talking post-crack, a post-crack Brooklyn era and whatnot. So what he was talking, and we all know that Big went to Catholic school. Okay? Big was an honor student, and along the way, like many of us who were in Catholic school or in the masjid or, you know, in honors programs, or, you know, some of us were troubled youth. We were in DFY and things like that when we were young. We were at-risk teens and things of that nature. We were allowed to go through our dark periods. We were allowed to go through our era of trial and error of, you know, learning from our mistakes and things of that nature. Bumping our heads, you know what I'm saying, maturing, having children, seeing a purpose in life, being able to evolve and drop certain things behind and express that through our art. Okay? Unfortunately, this man was not able to do so because he died about 3 years after he came out. He came out in 93, basically when his album dropped. He died 4 years later in 97. So we would never even see the full extent of his art, what he was able to create and unfold. Now, the body of work that he left behind, I would not come up here and tell the family that, oh, that's the most positive, you know what I'm talking about, tree-hugging soundtrack that you can ever hear and whatnot, and it helped your chakras awaken and it rise the kundalini. I'm not saying that, you know what I'm saying? What I'm saying that is this man's creative expression was something that was very unique, and he spoke about a culture that I had to survive. He spoke about a culture that brothers and sisters who didn't survive this culture, you know what I'm saying, was a part of. Okay, he spoke about a culture that many people who can identify, who came up in BK during those times, and right now down south or on the West Coast or Midwest and other places, y'all might be going through your 90s era right now. We went through that. Now we in regentrified BK, where white people are walking poodles to us through the film right now, as you can see. But we went through a dark time. So this was the griot, this was the poet, this was the MC, this was the lyricist that spoke of that time. He's standing on the shoulders of Big Daddy Kane. He's standing on the shoulders of people who came before him who set the trend. Now, Big Daddy Kane wasn't as graphic and wasn't as quote-unquote dark as Biggie Smalls. He spoke of a time that wasn't as dark. The golden era of hip-hop, the 80s, the partying, the women, the lyricists, the having fun. Then crack came, and this is what he represents, and he speaks about that. So we look at it from the context of, you know, what it is, that the picture that he painted. Because you niggas will sit back and watch The Wire. You know what I'm saying? We'll sit back and watch all of these movies. We'll sit back and indulge in all of this entertainment and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, we're not going to say that, oh, Martin Scorsese is an evil man or Robert De Niro is a monster. You know what I'm saying? We won't say that Al Pacino needs to be brought up on charges against crimes of humanity. He let the people down. We won't say that Denzel was a piece of shit for Training Day. We understand that these are artists portraying their art. We watch the art, indulge in the art. Now, if you went ahead and followed everything that Biggie said, and you went ahead and tried to be who these characters that he was talking about, then hopefully you were able to evolve out of that, and you found something else to influence you. Go ahead, bro. Peace, y'all. All right, peace. Peace. We doing an interview real quick. I want to ask y'all one question if y'all don't mind. It'll be real quick. I just want to know what the impact of Big had on y'all lives and whatnot in that era, though. 9-6, 9-5, the tunnel era and things of that nature.
I mean, Big, you know, he from the hood, not here, like, but he from Clear Hills and all that.
Clear Hills,
But
that's down the block.
yeah, that's down the block. But I'm just saying, you know, it's this mutual respect. I went to school with niggas over there, and you know, when he popped, everybody, you know what I'm saying? So it's alright, he's cool, you know. So I respect it. You know, it's the nigga who put him on is around the corner, 50 grand.
Okay, 50 grand. He over there right now, you said? Okay, no doubt. We might have to pass through there. Peace. All right, facts. You know what I'm saying? So the tradition is right here in these streets. You know, Biggie represented a whole culture. People look at the artist sometimes, but he represents a whole neighborhood. And then that whole neighborhood, by vicariously, he represents a whole global neighborhood. But he's not an island upon himself. If you listen to his lyrics, he's speaking about different people from these neighborhoods, the stories, the tales, the urban legends and things of that nature. The same thing with Jay-Z. They're speaking about urban myths, urban legends, the legends of the hood in a time period prior to what we can conceive as now, where people from the street try to be like the rappers. Back in his days, the rappers wanted to be like the street dudes. So things changed a little bit after he came out.
All right, Red, continuing with the whole, you know, the whole creativity thing and artist and everything, I want to ask you a question about Biggie and him telling his particular truth and his street tales growing up in Brooklyn. He has a lot of drug tales. He sold drugs. You know what I'm saying? He sold crack. He's telling that story. He went from that to being successful. You remember, you seen his first video with his mother in the video. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. You got artists, you got producers, you got producers like go ahead, brother, go ahead. Oh, you watching? You got producers like Lee Daniels out now. Just to fast forward it and move into 2015. He's saying his particular truth is the homo agenda, is homophobia. He been through some shit and he want to tell his story. So it seems like with artists, Red, everybody wants to tell their story. But when does it stop becoming a story and it's an obvious agenda to brainwash the people? Because some people may say the whole crack thing was an agenda with hip-hop. Some people may say today the homo shit is agenda. Big was just telling his story. Lee Daniels said he was telling his story. What is art, Red, and what is the obvious agenda being pushed on our people? Because I respect art, and I don't believe in censoring art. But when does art become an agenda by the so-called powers that be to influence or brainwash the masses?
Well, powers that be utilize, or the corporate entities or the culture vultures, as the brother Dame Dash calls them, they utilize artistry for agendas. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's plain and simple. Like, corporate America, Sony, which was, I believe that's the parent company of Arista, you know, your Sonys of the world, your Interscopes of the world, your Columbias, your Universals. If you don't understand corporate structure, if you don't understand the bottom line, if you don't understand the mentality of corporate America, then you would be kind of, you know, you could get thrown off by, you know, how they utilize their artists to push their agendas in subtle ways. The fact that they'll bankroll and they'll put money behind, because what corporate America is finances. They're your capital, your venture capitalists. They're the ones that put the money behind the ideas. There's something that the conscious community doesn't have. You know, we don't have. Hold on, we don't have. Brothers and sisters who are bankrolling and funding our ideas. They're not funding our artistry. But you got niggas out there complaining about what they don't see and what's not occurring and whatnot. We don't have the funding for it to occur. But corporate America has budgets. They have agendas. They have budgets to fund agendas. And what they'll do is they come into neighborhoods and they get people like a Biggie Smalls, brothers and sisters who have talent, brothers and sisters who have, you know, they have the ability to, you know, put words together and create realities by doing such. And they will bankroll and they will fund them, but they will steer them in a direction where they say, I don't want to hear too much of that conscious shit, bro. I like that everyday struggle song that you wrote, but let's get some more Machine Gun Funk. Let's get some more 10 Crack Commandments before we even put your album out, because we're funding you, because we control the budgets. You understand what I'm saying? So, yeah, so Lee Daniels, you know, he falls right in line with the corporate agenda, because, of course, that is what they've been building up for over the years. And after they took brothers like Tupac out, after they took the Biggie Smalls out, and they lowered the bars to the standard of what it takes to be a part of this industry and what it takes to be in front of multi-millions and millions of people, it has degenerated over those years. So now a Lee Daniels with an empire is allowed to come in and exist, because it wasn't allowed to exist prior to a Biggie Smalls. Now, to say that he has something to do with it or he's part of that trajectory, shit, maybe. You know what I'm saying? Maybe. But the powers that be, the corporations that are behind them with their agendas, definitely. Definitely. So the Interscopes of the world, the fact that the NWA came out and they were pseudo-militant, express yourself, fuck the police, all of these subtle messages where they were picking up the militancy of the Panthers in California at that time, all the way to, you know, the songs that they were making when Ice Cube left the band, the songs that they were making that were degenerating. Yeah, what I'm saying is, you know, Interscope being behind that, the rise of Death Row and things of that nature, the fact that Tupac gets bailed out by Suge Knight, Tupac being the son of a Panther, the son of the Panthers, the son of Afeni Shakur and Matulu, and then Suge brings him over to Death Row, and that's the end of his conscious crusades until he comes up with the Machiavelli album and things of that nature, and then he has plans to spin that off later on down the line to become more conscious and whatnot, but then they took that brother out. So, you know, but he had to implement his own agenda, he had to get his own money up, and he had to create his own movement. But when he tried to do that, that got clipped. So like I was saying, because we didn't see how this man would blossom later on down the line, I can't put my moral compass to what he could have become or who he could have evolved into, because he didn't even get to flourish. He died 4 years after he came out. The hell? How, you can't judge an artist based off of 4 years of their work, of their body of work.
I want to spend, I'm gonna let you very much.
Red, for the youth out there watching, it's not a large variety of music out there for them to choose for, at least on the radio. And you know they're yeah, thank you. And you know they're listening to the radio, they listen to YouTube, they're on the blogs like World Star or Real Talk or All Hip Hop, whatever. So if they want something positive, sometimes they have to go. They can't go on them sites. So sometimes, I'm not going to come at the site, sometimes they got to go to alternative sites. What I am saying, Red, is that, do you think it's possible, Red, to bypass some of the negativity we hear in music and appreciate the genius within it? Me, for example, I could appreciate the genius to an extent with the Bobby Shmurda. the energy that the brother came with. I haven't seen it in a while in music. I could appreciate the genius. I told you, Big was a wordsmith, pure genius, probably the greatest lyricist ever. I could appreciate that despite the 10 crack commandments, or what some may say was had a negative impact, the whole drug thing or whatever. So is it possible, in your opinion, to bypass some of the negative lyrics and appreciate and get inspired by a genius, regardless of whether you feel your moral compass tells you what they said was wrong or whether it was right?
That's a very good question. Now, this is what I would say from a parent's point of view, you know what I'm saying? And from somebody who was heavily influenced by the lyrics and the movements of certain artists as a youth. You know, I was one of those, you know, young hip hop connoisseurs who ate I ate everything that came out. I ate it up. You know what I'm saying? From Slick Rick, you know what I mean? When we had to sneak and listen to Cool G rap, because our parents would be like, yo, did he just say fuck or nigga? You know what I mean? Like, you know, that was taboo back in the days. You know what I'm saying? The youth don't know about that. I was a connoisseur. I consumed music wholesale. I didn't have a moral compass when it came to, you know, this music is bad or this music is not good for you. And, you know, I wasn't a square. I didn't look at it through a square's goggles and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? I'm about the music. I knew how to differentiate, you know, the path that I was gonna walk down. I never sold crack. You feel me? My mother warned me that if I did, that there's some dudes out there with afros that would push my wig back. Because she said if I could bring you in this world, I could take you out, and I'm not gonna allow you to sell crack to your people. And that stopped my whole, if I ever had a crack dream, if I ever had a Big Willie ambition, that cut that shit completely short. So I indulged in other things in the underworld, but I needed a soundtrack. The music fed it to me, but I was able to take music for what it was, inspiration. I was able to take Get Money, you know, when Big put out Get Money, and I was able to apply that to the way that I was getting money. You know what I'm saying? I was able to apply certain songs about, you know, dudes out there macking, you know what I mean, getting the ladies and whatnot, and I had to apply that to how I was going to approach the situation and, you know, get the women to notice me. You know, I looked at the fashion that they were wearing, the way that they put their stuff together. I applied that to my fashion, the hairstyles. So I've been influenced by the culture from my DNA, from the core up. You know what I'm saying? So when I look at it now, I could listen to a Thug Motivation 101. Yeah, Jeezy said that he moving them birds, but I could apply that to I'm moving pounds of sea moss. I'm moving boxes of clothes. Shit. I'm Thug motivated. You know what I'm talking about? You know, I witnessed the BMF era. I seen what they was doing, and I was like, damn, yo, if brothers and sisters who was conscious, brothers and sisters who was about something, brothers and sisters who was about their bread, if they moved through the cities like that, they'd be an unstoppable force. Fast forward, Big Meech listening to KTL radio. So, you know, it's about taking the information, taking the music, applying it to what it is that you doing, being an alchemist. Don't be in no fucking square. You know what I'm saying? Do what it do. There's just certain music that vibrations are very low and I can't fuck with it. You know what I'm saying? Because when I listen to it, because of the frequency that I'm on, I could feel that frequency. The lowness of that frequency, it doesn't fit. It goes against my nature. Now, like I said before, if I'm in the gym, if I'm getting it in, if I need to bring out my carnal lower self, if I need to bring out my red chakra self, then I'll listen to some Schmurda in the gym. I'll listen to some ratchet music because it serves a purpose. So that's what I do.
Do you think that us expecting these rappers, you know what I'm saying, these is young brothers, Chris Brown, young brother, 20, you know, his early 20s, Rihanna, young sister, early 20s, mid 20s or whatever like that. Do you think it shows some type of laziness? I don't know if that's the right word, or a lack of parenting on the parents to assume that these artists are role models automatically because they got a camera in their face? Are they automatically role models, or are we not doing our job as being a parents and parenting our children? Because some people could say, you know, well, if you was a good parent, then anything Rihanna say, anything Chris say, no matter how many hoes he say ain't loyal, if you was a good parent, he ain't gonna go for that. So what you think's up with that, Red?
It starts in the household. Parenting plays a huge part, okay? Parenting is the foundation that the child is going to stand on. If it's good parenting in the home versus if there's no parenting, bad parenting, abusive parenting, and things of that nature, yes, that has a huge impact. But going back to what I was saying earlier about my experience, I could only speak about my experience. I can't pontificate and try to guesstimate, and all of this other fake shit that these people be out here trying to do. I'm going to tell you from what it is, what happened with me when I was a youth. I don't give a fuck who you was. You're not going to stop me from listening to Cool G rap. You was not stopping me from listening to Slick Rick. You was not stopping me from listening to Big Daddy Kane. I just don't, I mean, and this was prior, there was no internet, wasn't no smartphone, wasn't no tablets, wasn't no .coms. Nigga, we had TVs that you turn with a goddamn wrench. We had 5 channels, black and white sometimes. 31 with video music box, yeah. And we had tape decks and the tape would pop. And you still couldn't stop us. So now a lot of that stuff is accessible 100 more times. You're not going to stop the children from accessing the music that they want to hear. They could pull it up on YouTube. They could pull it up on Spotify. They could pull it up on Pandora. They are in these schools listening. And like I said, when they put the brothers and sisters in them lights and cameras, and when they put them in front of the youth on those grand stages, those $1 million stages, and they get PR campaigns, they got multi-million-dollar PR budgets and marketing and promotions, it's but little that you could do to stop them from your children seeing these people as stars. Okay, because they're marketing them as stars. There's a blueprint that they follow, and it's something that they use. It's been working since they're in the business of creating stars. Beyond YouTube, they're in the business of creating stars, so they know how to create stars, and for your children to look up to be like, yo, he's the man. A lot of the children these days, their eyes are wide open, though. I would give them credit that they have their third eye open. They know bullshit when they see it. They know fakeness when they see it. They know people who are manufactured when they see it. But I've been behind the scenes in the industry. They could take somebody that's super corny and make him look like he's that nigga. You know what I'm saying? Through editing, you know what I mean? Through media training. It ain't what it seems to be. It's a whole bunch of people that will tell you that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't, you know.
I've been there and done.
Red, so you know, you doing a lot of reminiscing in your childhood, and what that makes me think of, you know, I reminisce on my childhood and how things used to be, and Wu-Tang sampled the song, Can It Be That It Was All So Simple? You remember that? Like, why is it that every generation thinks their version of ignorance is better than the next generation? So what we went through with our crack shit or whatever, we be like, well, damn, we ain't out here on that homo shit, or we ain't out there on that. The generation before us was like, we ain't doing all that rap hip hop shit. We singing, we making love. They was like, we doing love songs. The generation before that had something to say to that generation. We don't like the way the younger generation dresses, and it happens every generation. So why is it that the previous generation, whatever they was doing, they swear their version of ignorance is better than the next generation's version of ignorance? Because our generation did a lot of shit, but we like, yo, we ain't nothing like these niggas. These niggas, they pants is tight, but our shits was overly baggy. So it's like, does it make sense for us to say our version was better than their version, or is it literally getting worse and worse and worse, or are we not seeing something with all the new generations coming up?
Damn, that's good. Shit. I would say, you know, I would say that, and I hope not to be hypocritical in this statement, but I would say that, you know, there's a slight degeneration with each generation. You know, I would say that because of the social dynamics that have been taking place. Remember, this is the nuclear fallout from the crack era. Let's talk about it. You know what I'm saying? And some people are going to try to blame him for making them smoke crack, or they're going to blame him for all of the vows that have been sold. They're going to blame him for the fact that people are moving birds out of town. You know, and at the end of the day, if that's where your knowledge or your consciousness or your studies or your research brings you, then who am I to say, you know, I can't change your mind. You know what I'm saying? But what I'll say is that he helped create a soundtrack that encouraged that. Yes, he did. You know what I'm saying? Jay-Z went ahead and forwarded that. Yes, he did. Jeezy, Ross, and the other people, the whole goddamn Atlanta right now with the trap movement, they're forwarding those agendas. The fallout from those agendas, because that was a chemical war, and it also had genetic implications as well, because of the fact that, you know, the offspring of some of those brothers and sisters that were infected by those chemicals, you know, they have some issues these days, behavioral, sexuality issues. You know what I'm saying? They have a lot of different issues, and there's still a fallout coming from that. Many different generations. The generation prior to that had a fallout from the heroin era. Okay, when they blanketed the communities with heroin in the 60s and whatnot, that post-Vietnam era, the children that came out of the loins of the brothers and sisters that were going through that drug era or that drug scourge, they had issues. You know what I'm saying? And then the influx of the guns into the neighborhoods, where it went from knuckling up straight, you know, gangs that were basically knuckling up, stabbing each other. The shit went to the pistols. Now they hitting you with assault rifles. Soon niggas will hit you with a rocket. You know what I'm saying? Then they're gonna be droning niggas in about 10 years. So, I mean, things get worse, but things get better. We live in a paradox, you know what I'm saying? We live in a dualistic world any goddamn way. So as some things fall, you're gonna see some things rise. As some things fall apart, you're gonna see some things come together. So yes, different generations hate on other generations. It's been going on since time immemorial. I'm not, you know, the shit that I be seeing these days, it makes me sometimes like turn the other cheek. But then I gotta shake my head and remember to myself, wait, hold on. We was on a train 80 deep beating white people up. We was in our hood terrorizing motherfuckers. We was on the roof shooting people and throwing bricks off, and we was kicking doors in and all of this stuff. Like, we was wilding. And they not wilding like that. I mean, they off the chain, but god damn it, they not off the chain like we was. Me and Rich just walked from one part of Bed-Stuy to this part safely with no problem. Like, it was straight Kevin Hart. It was nothing but Europeans. You know what I'm talking about? So things change. And you couldn't do that 20 years ago. You couldn't do that 30 years ago. There was no welcome mats in Bed-Stuy. There wasn't no, they wasn't rolling out the red carpet. You was the red carpet. So, you know, we turn our nose up, but we the adults. We the ones who supposed to be teaching the youth. I was benefited by my OGs. My OGs gave me jewels. Even though we was ratchet, even though we was turned up, my OGs were responsible. They wasn't letting anybody come out there and be a goddamn drug dealer. They picked you for that. They chose who was coming out on the block and whatnot, and certain other people had to get upstairs. So the generation in the 90s, we let this shit go. In a way, we allowed the youth who came behind us to operate with no code of conduct, no morals, no manual, no commandments. So how the hell could we turn our nose up at them at this point? We got to do what we doing right now, what we've been doing, what we're going to continue doing, what the people whose shoulders I'm standing on are doing, the nation of gods and earth, the nation of Islam, the Rastafarian, Naya Bingi, Moore Science Temple of America, RBG, Hebrew Israelites, all of these brothers and sisters who have gone through the darkness in order to see the light, but they man enough and woman enough to stand up and say that I want to teach the babies.
I just want to say one more thing, please. Yo,
Red, you know, music come from the heart, Red, and you know, It's a reflection sometimes, if you ain't faking it, on your environment that you grew up in and what you was, what you was surrounded by. You just speaking on gentrification in Brooklyn. How do you think gentrification happening all over the country? Brooklyn birthed some of the finest MCs in the world. How do you think gentrification in Brooklyn impacts hip hop or impacts black music worldwide with these communities that birth Harlem? Some of these MCs came out of Harlem, some of these MCs came out of Brooklyn, so on and so forth. How's this gentrification, this pain, this struggle, what we represent, what we talk about, how does it change now when we have, surrounded by white folks and all that? What does our music become now? It dies?
You gotta ask the people who were surrounded by white folks when Brooklyn was all white prior. Why nobody talk about that? You gotta find out what kind of music was being produced when there was white folks all up in Harlem prior. The fuck? This is called a time is centrifugal, B. So the new paradigm that will be created, this new exodus is taking place where our brothers and sisters are going down south. It's gonna create some new music. It's gonna create a new goddamn movement and new music, a new sound. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we need to get the fuck out of the cities and get back to nature. Maybe that's something of a higher order making certain things happen. Look at the new, come on. This land is very big, it's vast. Look at the 40 acres that it took to build up Black Wall Street. Maybe we need to get out of these cities and go ahead and get a tract of land and build it up and make it a new city. Put our energy in it and make sure that it fortifies so it can never be regentrified. White people are not coming in and taking over. But Brooklyn is gone. Harlem is gone. You know what I'm saying? It is gone. And as a result of that, it's going to create something new. It's going to create a new paradigm. You're going to get some Iggy Azaleas and things like that, but it's part of the cycle, bro. It's just part of the cycle, KTLempowerment@gmail. You know what I'm saying? Holla at us. We got some programs that we are going to be introducing to the family coming up real soon. Brother Blue is down south right now making some moves. Shout out to my family in Philadelphia. Thank you for having the brother Red Pill out there for the lectures that we did, the back-to-back ones and whatnot. Shout out to Black and Nobel. Peace and salute. All right. Has Biggie had on you culture-wise? How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
28.
Okay, so bringing you up and whatnot, I'm assuming that he brought you up with the music, no doubt. So talk about it.
Basically, like, my brother was a DJ,
Oh.
so that's all he used to listen to was Biggie, you know what I mean? So I just grew up to all of Biggie's music, and to this day, I still rock with Biggie, you know what I mean?
No doubt.
You know what I mean? Like,
How did his lyrics and the pictures that he was painting, what did that do for you, being in the crib and whatnot, trying to get a greater vision of what Brooklyn was like, what New York was like during that era and prior, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it had a big impact, you know what I mean? Especially, I forgot the name of the song, but is it Juicy? I think it's Juicy. Like, Juicy was just one of the best songs, like, you know what I mean? It made everybody want to have a Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis, you know what I mean? Like, I love Big, man. Like, not for nothing, like, 2 days ago I had to watch the movie again just to, like, and when he died in the movie, it's just, I felt it, man. Like, it's crazy, you know what I mean? Like,
everybody remembers that day. They say, like, when our parents, they remember the day that JFK and King died and things like that. I remember the day when I heard that Biggie was gone. You know what I'm saying? It was.
I really don't remember because I was so young. But just now, like, not being in hip hop and society is like, it's just it really hurts that he's gone. Like, he was one of the greatest for real. Like,
No doubt. I appreciate you, brother. No doubt, man. Peace, indeed. Of course. No doubt. Can we take a? Yeah. All right. Peace, family. What's good? How's indeed? I'm good, man. Brother Red Pill. What's your name?
B.O.
B.O. Peace, B.O. Indeed. Allah. Yes, sir. I want to know. The family wants to know your perspective about what has regentrification. What does it mean to you? I'm sure that you said that you were OG. You was born in this hood and whatnot. How have you seen things change in the last 10 years, 10, 15?
Wow. Change, man. That definitely changed. Where would I start at? For example, okay, I definitely see, how the saying go, more things change, more things stay the same? All right. more things change as far as economy and more things stay the same. Racism, poverty, the same old, same old. It ain't changed. It definitely didn't change. I mean,
before you continue, you're saying that the quality of life for the brothers and sisters in these neighborhoods have not changed since time immemorial, from what you could remember.
I'm saying exactly that. It didn't change. It didn't change. It's like, in fact, it got worse. Because today's youth, they is caught up, man. They don't even know. They don't know the history.
Yeah.
They don't even know the history. They really don't. And yeah, it definitely changed. It's got worse.
Indeed.
Oh, you got some more people who want to.
Well, I want to, we're going to build and whatnot. Let me ask you something. Being that you mentioned that, let's go back into the Biggie era. Let's go back into 9-3, 9-4, 9-5 and whatnot. When the hood was popping, when when the style was buzzing. Yeah, post Big Daddy Kane era, post, you know what I'm saying? Just paint a quick picture about that Brooklyn.
Wow, that Brooklyn had a lot more love. That Brooklyn had a lot more camaraderie. Like, we kind of like, in our own little way, we held each other down, had respect for mama. You know what I think happened? Big mama left the house. As soon as grandma went back to the essence, now we got 35, 40-year-old grandmothers. So once Big mama went back to the essence, the kids.
That foundation fell apart.
No doubt. That's what I agree. Big, man, he epitomized Brooklyn.
Indeed.
I personally know him. He epitomized Brooklyn. Him, they had Big Kane, Antoine definitely. Definitely.
He was to me, that's the OG. That's the originator, that class, that style, that swag. It's Big Daddy Kane all day.
He did one of his videos right here on that roof.
On that roof?
Right on that roof.
Point to that roof.
Video right on that roof. Right
Show him the roof.
Antoine and Biz was right in here. Cause Easy Mo B and Mr. C, they right from here, right from my building.
What projects are these?
These Lafayette Gardens.
Let the family
Love God, LG all day, every day. You heard?
Indeed, no doubt.
Don't forget that.
Used to go to Tunnel?
Man, oh man, yo, I was seeing some wild stuff in the tunnel, man. In fact, I was there the night when Lil Shaheem got cut.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, that was the day when Kane, y'all know him as Kane. Brun got Big and all them on the stage. So it was classic.
Indeed.
It was classic.
No doubt, Lord.
All
All right, OG. Yes, sir. All right, I appreciate you, Lord. All right. No doubt.